What is up YouTube? Today I have a Borderlands 3 build video with you guys. And for this one, we have Barf Moze. This build focuses around some really special COV weapon. These COV weapon often have cooling animations that have a special abilities. Take the gargoyle for example. This weapon, whenever you overhit and activate the cooling animation, it will put out 5 projectiles that deal corrosive pistol damage. And we are also abusing the fact that on the keyboard you can click the arrow button or arrow keys in order to activate an emote, and that will count as a cooling animation cancel. And you can spam this very regularly, making very interesting gameplay as you can see here, where the cooling animation is constantly getting cancelled, so you are able to put out a bunch of projectile. The projectile also count as a normal gunshot, so this gun is basically infinity with infinite fire rate, depend on how fast you can click the arrow keys button. This build very strong as you can see in the footages, but that require a lot of setup and understanding of the damage formulas in order to get this to pull up. And this can work on a console. You can still cancelling the cooling animation with melee or swapping weapons, but it just isn't as efficient as on a keyboard, where you can spam the emote using the arrow keys. So if you are using a console, I don't recommend you using this build, but if you are using a keyboard and want to find some builds that is fun and give you a new playstyle, this is the one for you. Before the video starts, don't remember to like, share, sub to the channel if you haven't done that already. Comment down below on what you think about the video. Join the Discord server if you want to get the SaveFile or just want to have a chat with me. With that being said though, let's get into the gear breakdown. For the gun, we are mainly using 2 guns. The first is the gargoyle. This gun, when overhit, would put out 5 projectiles that deal corrosive pistol damage. And when you are performing emo spamming, it can put out insane amount of projectile. And the projectile count as a gunshot, which means it is also proccing short fuse in order to deal even more damage. Note that the gargoyle can easily down yourself if not careful, so remember to keep your distance with the enemies. Do not shoot this into the ground where it is near you, otherwise it will down yourself very quickly. The second weapon we are using is a Zysafe Eruption. This is very similar to the gargoyle. It's when overhit, it put out like 7 or 8 projectiles that debuff enemy. These projectiles actually homing, whereas the gargoyle is only shooting like normally in an arcing shape. This is actually better in some situation because it is homing, so you can use this as an alternative to the gargoyle when you are facing some enemies that is hard to aim, or just very high up enemy where you can reach with the gargoyle. This deals significantly less damage than the gargoyle, but the 200% debuff does have a little bit. You can also use this in combination with the gargoyle, so you apply the debuff, then the gargoyle can deal more damage, and also double dipping with the short fuse. I'm also using a CLR in order to apply a corrosive and fire dot to myself, which activates the elemental projector. For the enchantment or the anointment, the other one, the Iron Cup active weapon damage increased by 150. Some action skill and bonus element doesn't really work here because we want to keep Iron Cup active all the time for flare. You can also get some kill gain weapon damage and reload speed. Reload speed can be very dangerous because that can get you out of the cooling animation, but it is still worth getting. I don't know if the consecutive annoy work with the reloading animation. I haven't tested that, but you can try it out to see, but generally the Iron Cup active is the best one for this. Okay, moving on to the shields. There are a couple ones here. Firstly, I'm using a version OM with the action skill start, activate any effects that trigger skill break or few. If you don't know what the version OM do, it put out a circle whenever the shield is break or broken. This circle would give you a pure 50% mood to your damage, of your damage. So you are also double dipping this with the short fuse. Other than this shield, you can also get a corrosive God or a Beskar with at least 1 reflect part or augment. Because if you don't know, whenever you go down and gain a second win, the Beskar gives you 100% reflect, and you are literally immune to any bullet damage or any projectiles come at your way. Note that this doesn't make you immune to your own damage, so still be careful with how you put out the gargoyle projectiles. For the end, anointment, get action skill start, shield break for the version OM, get action skill and bonus element for the God and the Beskar. For the class mod, the best one for this is flare, because it would give you 100% of V1 damage while Iron Bear or Iron Cup is active in this situation. For the passive, get the splash damage, weapon fire rate, pistol damage, weapon damage, avoid splash damage radius. But splash damage is the thing you want the most on here. The skill doesn't matter really much, but try to get as much point into stainless steel bear as possible, because that would give you more fire in the Scarden and big surplus damage. For the grenade, I'm using an Epis in order to apply a debuff. This debuff is additive with the Save Eruption. Get the on grenade, throw the weapon grenade action skill damage increased by 25%, because the weapon damage on here is actually V2. Shout out to Mr. Neighbor Talk, by the way, he correct me that one. So that is almost a pure mode to your damage formulas. Yeah, I'm not forgetting any other V2 damage on here. For the artifact, you can use either elemental projector or splash melter. The victory rush, that part doesn't matter, but it would be the optimal one to get. The flash metal would provide you with a lot of corrosive damage when you are mobbing, so it is more fitting for mobbing situation. Elemental projector work really well with this sell out, so use this when bossing because it gives you an instant 129% elemental damage. For the passive, get arrow effect damage. I don't recommend you getting one at the second or third slot like I'm having here. Having it in the first slot is actually more beneficial because it reduces the splash radius, so you reduce the chance of you accidentally downing yourself. Get movement speed, spittle damage, or corrosive damage. All of that is really great. One note, this build is very good at trio, true trio, because it's able to clear enemy pretty quickly, but in some takedowns it can be quite rough, so I recommend you using a Beskar there because it provides you with a lot of survivability. And if you are uncomfortable when doing takedowns, you can just hop on to the Iron Bear, because we are also using flare, so Iron Bear is getting a lot of damage too. But at the end, for the bossing, the best setup would be the Gargoyle and the Save Eruption, so the build is still on. Moving on to the skill tree breakdown. For the green skill tree, we are putting 5 points into Cloud Bleed. It doesn't do much. I mean, in some situation, just shooting the Gargoyle is good enough when you are mobbing, so this can help that. Stoke the Ember is for more fire damage, Scrappy for weapon damage, Rushing Offensive is for some light steal, which can be useful when you are using the Save Eruption or when you are just shooting with the Gargoyle. To the purple skill tree, 5 points into Biofuel for health regen, and to move down the skill tree, Big Surplus is for extra fire damage when Iron Cup are down, Double Time for movement speed, Harmonious Havoc is for gun damage. You should get as much corrosive weapon or gear on your equipment slot up possible, because that would buff Harmonious Havoc. Nitro Engine for maximum fuel and action skill cooldown rate for your Iron Cup, which help with the Flare class mod. Never going to give you up for helping the Flare class mod even further. Running on film again, so that we get more Iron Cup uptime, which help Flare. The reason we go all the way down here in order to get efficiency engine for more gun damage, so that it would buff our COV weapon stuff. To the green skill tree, Fire the Scarden, this would buff both our Save Eruption and Gargoyle damage, and because it's the action skill damage, it would receive Mayhem scaling. Deadlines is for more Iron Cup uptime, which help with Flare, Grizzle, Stir, Talk Cross promotion. Normally I wouldn't track this, but because we are going all in double dipping short fuse, we have to get all the formulas that we can have our head on. So Talk Cross promotion is really nice. Just be careful with your gunplay and you should be fine. Stainless Steel Bear, a lot of action skill damage here, which would buff our Fire in the Scarden and short fuse. By the way, Fire in the Scarden also work with short fuse. It doesn't receive the Mayhem scaling because the short fuse already received once. Fire in the Scarden still contribute a lot of damage. We are putting 5 points into Vampire for some health regen. Not from our grenade damage, but from Iron Bear arrow damage. To the last is so that when we are going fight for your life, we can throw up it piece grenade, and that would improve our damage really greatly. Short fuse This is the most important skill of this build. It work with just your gun damage in general, and also the cooling animation of Gargoyle and Zysav Eruption. This would double dip your splat damage, V1, V2, the buff. This only deal physical damage, so it doesn't double dip your elemental damage, which is very unfortunate. But I'm still able to make this deal insane amount of damage, and you can see I can get it up to 800 million damage. If you can able to optimize it further, of which I cannot think of anywhere else, you maybe can get up to 1 billion, because it is still insane. We put nothing in the rescue tree for the Iron Cup setup. We are using Iron Cup with the efficiency engine augment for more gun damage. If you are fighting your Iron Cup downing itself often, you can use Fuel for the Fire. That would provide you with a lot of survivability. For the second weapon, I'm using Vanquisher Rocket Pod with the target softening. This would provide you with a 15% debuff, and this is only additive to the Hammergeddon bonuses, so this is almost a pure mode. So that is it. Hope you find this video useful. If you did, remember to like, share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that already. Comment down below on what you think. Join the Discord server, and see you guys next time.